Welcome to the Business Growth Support podcast stage. Today we're joined by David Marquart from IYK Capital. It's a pleasure having you here.
Likewise, Victor. Happy to be here.
What's your story in a nutshell?
Small town poker player, straight to New York City, Wall Street. 20 years later, became obsessed with crypto. Now I offer those investment services to my friends. Well, my first job was actually at Lehman Brothers to date myself, 2007, intern there. And then I went straight to high frequency trading. I thought observing how computers play a role in capital markets would be a big deal, just this intersection of capital markets and technology. Then I ended up doing volatility arbitrage at a $10 billion option trading firm. Then I launched my first hedge fund when I was 27, doing a hybrid volatility strategy. Then I moved to California when I became a dad. I joined an RIA. I helped them grow $1.25 billion in assets, as well as I launched crypto there. Somewhere around the late 2000 teens, I became obsessed with crypto and I became very passionate about it. I thought most investors should have at least a little bit in their portfolio. And that was really hard to do because it was very misunderstood. The framing around the idea of crypto was very negative, which I think is intentional, but it's a very disruptive technology. Nonetheless, I believe that my fiduciary responsibility was to advocate at a minimum for this technology. And so then in 2024, I actually, after launching crypto at that RIA and getting a lot of investors involved in it, I actually spun out and launched my own fund, which now is completely crypto focused.
What does your company do?
I invest in crypto for people. So people become partners in my fund and I invest on their behalf for them. I actually created the fund that mirrors my personal investment strategy. So it's my own cooking. So people like Chef David, they're welcome to have exposure the way I invest in it. And that's from someone that's a seasoned investor for 20 years, as someone that spends a lot of time thinking about researching and advocating for this technology. It's a full-time job. It's a deep personal interest. It's a passion. I tried to make my career, my interests and everything kind of my ikigai, the center of my attention and the center of so much of my energy. And so my fund is my artistic expression of the best exposure for an investor specifically in the digital asset sector.
Interesting. From your perspective, what is the best way to grow your business on your niche?
And growing business is interesting, right? There's a lot of different strategies. My business is really focused on how many assets under management, but also I like staying private. I like being a one-man show. So it's quite a luxury to be selective with who you grow and who you work with. But it's like, what's the best way to raise money? I don't necessarily think there is a conventional way to raise money. I think the best way to do so is have a lot of trusted relationships, be a trustworthy person, be honest, don't try to sell a product to people. Instead, be authentic, kill the competition with authenticity. That's not my quote, but it's one I subscribe to. And that's why my fund is really a byproduct of my personal investment strategy. And then it's just offered there for select investors. So that's my approach. It's not necessarily the approach to become $1 billion fund sooner rather than later. I think there's some advantages about being lean and mean and a boutique fund.
How you see the AI wave shaping the industry?
I think AI will undoubtedly accelerate everything. One of the fascinating outputs of the technology of Chainlink, of this Oracle network and how it intersects with AI that I particularly fond of is an Oracle network. It's basically a consensus mechanism. It finds consensus. So everyone's worried about becoming dependent on AIs, but what if the AI hallucinates or goes rogue? Well, with an Oracle network that puts information on blockchains, which are very hard and very secure, you can find consensus across multiple AIs. For example, you don't have to just take what the AI says, but if Claude, XAI, Perplexity, and ChatGPT all agree on one thing, that consensus of those four AIs is actually a stronger output of data than a single AI. And I think the technology and the ability to do that is very powerful.